much for joining us today. I'm Sophia Lucia Perola with Garden State Film Festival. This year, March 21st through March 24th, 2024, you can come see the 22nd annual Garden State Film Festival. Along with coming, there'll be plenty of parties, networking, events, and you can see 200 films from 14 different countries in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Cranford, New Jersey. One of the films you can check out is a short homegrown high school film called Time. Here to talk to me about this film is filmmaker John Stillwagon, writer, director, editor, DP, pretty much all the hats on this film. So congratulations to you on that, John, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm excited to talk with you about the making of Time. But before we get into it, that was funny, the making of Time. Sorry, just laughing at that. Before we get into it, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, John?
All right. Hi, I'm John Stillwagon. I'm a 19-year-old filmmaker. I do a little bit of everything, camera, directing, and I was part of a film program in high school called FPAC at Howell High School, and that's where I sort of got my start, and that's where this film was made, and a lot of other films where I started out. And now I attend University of Arts in Philadelphia as a film major and a photography minor.
So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, really, really, really cool. I'm excited about your future and all the future films that you'll make.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's really cool too that I noticed from John's name here is he was also cinematographer on another film that we have called OCD, directed and written by Emma Lynn. So it's really cool to finally meet you, and you got a couple things this year. So congrats to you on that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about your film.
All right. So Time is based off a poem by Joe Masoko. And I sort of just like stumbled upon this poem one day. But basically, the concept of the film is about this boy who sort of is struggling with change and growing up. The whole concept of the film really is about struggling with loss and the passage of time. And I think it's a really important message because a lot of the time we can feel lost by the way time sort of just keeps moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more on that. And I love the concept of the film. So thank you for making it. What kind of came first? Did you find this, did you see the visuals and find the poem? Did you have the poem, see the visual? Like, how did it all come about together?
Um, Similar to OCD, because they were crafted for the same prompt, is that
Mhm.
our teacher in high school gave us a prompt where we had to pick a poem and make it into a film. But I had the idea. I wanted to cover the topics of nostalgia and grief and loss and passage of time, but I just couldn't find that right poem. So I just spent like weeks just like looking and looking, and I finally came across this poem by Joe Masoko, who is not really a poet. He hasn't really published any other works. And it just immediately hit me. Like I knew that I had to make this into a film.
Mm.
And then came storyboarding here and there. And instead of doing a shot sheet, I just had like visions of, oh, this line should be something along this lines. Um, and then it sort of just came together from there.
Mm. And since you wore basically every hat on this, and you were the DP on this, was there a solid shot list script, or did you kind of just go into it and go with the flow and follow that intuition? How did it go?
Um, there was a very loose script. It was mostly more of, um, well, I know I'm missing this gap, so I need to fill this in with something. And then at some point, it really just came together in editing. I had so much raw footage, probably like
Um,
45 minutes of it. And really just, I got to craft it all in editing.
Very interesting. How long did filming take?
Probably about 2 or 3 weeks. It was a really quick turnaround. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, so your lead in this was Justin Marinelli, right?
Yes,
But you also had there was other actors in the film as well. It was
I did.
yeah, pretty big cast there. So talk to me about finding these people and kind of how did you cast it, and why Justin too as this lead?
All right. Well, Justin comes from the same film program as me, but he's also an incredible actor. Not only is he a great director, a great cinematographer, but he also outside of school was taking acting classes. And I had only known him for maybe like 3 or 4 months at the time, but he just had such a passion for making films. I knew like I need to work with him and
Mm,
I want him on my next film. And he's just a great energy to have on set because he always just keeps you going. He's always so passionate, and he also just has great suggestions. He's like, "Oh, well, I think the character should you do this instead of this because it's more accurate to what I think the character would do," and it just winds up going great. So
yeah.
that's how I found Justin, and the rest of the cast was mostly a mixture of kids from the acting program that we also had at Howell High School, and just friends of mine who are really, really supportive, and I'm really grateful to have.
Awesome. I love when you can take your friends and just collaborate with people that you know and trust. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, was this like your directorial debut? Have you made plenty of films before this? Where does this fall in line with your career?
So I've co-directed other things, which means
Mm,
like I've directed, but I've had another person that I could bounce my ideas off
mhm.
of, and they could say, "Oh, this is great," or maybe you got to workshop that. I had a film, Love Aaron, that screened in Garden State last year, and so this time was really just throwing me off the deep end. It's like, all right,
Wow.
I'm by myself this time, and it's really like a test of sink or swim.
Right. Absolutely. And you swam. Clearly, you
And I
swam.
swam.
How was swimming? Was it difficult? Was there a lot of unforeseen challenges? Like, what was this filming process? What was it like making
Oh
time?
man, right away I had this vision of like I want this to be in an attic, like because attic is sort of where you tuck away all your lost memories, and
Yeah.
in the corner you'll find it somewhere. And I was like, I need an attic, but for
Mm.
some reason in Howell, New Jersey, there's nobody with attics that you can like go in. So I remember the first like week of filming, I'm just asking everybody I know, like, "Can I use your attic? Can I use your attic?" So that was kind of a lot of pressure actually, because I was like,
Wow.
"Am I gonna have this to be able to shoot and finish?" 'Cause I was on a deadline.
Mhm.
Um, I think I probably had like 3 or 4 weeks to finish it, and I was editing like that entire last week. But the rest of the filming process was very honestly fun because there's a montage scene in the film, and I remember one day I was just like, "Hey, my friends, we're all gonna go out and we're gonna bring a camera with us, and we're just gonna shoot some B-roll while we hang out and talk." And we wound up shooting about 2 or 3 hours of film. We filled up like the whole memory card, but it just made it great because then I could just pull whatever I really needed and assemble it in the end.
Yeah, that's awesome. So safe to say you found the attic though, or did we
I found
like
the attic.
workshop
I
this?
found the attic.
Wow.
I found the attic, but it was very, very cramped. Like we had to bring an old CRT up there, and it's one of those little like fold out ladders.
Uh
So I'm
huh.
like, oh my god, like we're gonna drop this TV off this ladder. But and it was
Wow.
also really cramped. No actors or crew could stand up really, so we're all like crawling around up there. But
Mhm, you could see that, like,
it
don't
worked
not to give
out.
anything away, but it added to it. I'm happy that you found the attic and you did your vision. I'm really happy that it all
Yeah.
worked out. Talk to me about you as a director. This seems very, like, kinda loose flowing. Like you said, there was a loose script. At one point, you kinda just went out with cameras and filmed a couple hours of footage. Would you say that this is how you are as a director, or was this just because of this film particularly?
I'd say that's how I was in the beginning. It's been about a year and a half since I've made this now. I made it last January actually, so little over a year.
Mhm.
Um, and I think since then I've really tried to work on my narrative script writing, and films I did after that. I had much more of like a solid shot sheet, storyboards, and I try to have more of a clear vision because then it's easier to work with the actors and work with your crew and tell people what you need. But this film just sort of happened, and I think sometimes the best things come from just sort of going out and doing it instead of spending so long playing and procrastinating.
Right. Absolutely. And you're already kind of talking about some things that you've learned since making this and that you're doing a little differently. But what would you say are some, maybe one big thing or a few things that you learned making time and really just that time after making time? What have you learned so far that you keep taking with you to your projects?
Um, I'm gonna go back to planning. I think that planning is really, really important to creating that final vision. Um, what else have I learned?
Mhm.
I think film is always learning. It's not like, you learn it and then you get it. It's like practice after practice after practice. And I learned that, like, at first I had some really rough stuff, and then I thought time was like great. But then it's not like, oh, you're gonna make something even better. Sometimes you have to fall back down again and keep
Mhm.
picking yourself up and just keep going until there really is no end. You keep
Right.
going and hope you make good work.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's a constant learning process and you're always growing from there. I love that. So you've been at Garden State Film Festival before because you were here last year with the film. This isn't the only film you're a part of this year, but how does it feel having time screen at the 22nd annual Garden State Film Festival? What do you feel about this festival?
Oh my god. I Since I grew up in New Jersey and I actually used to work in Asbury Park. So just to be surrounded by that community, I remember 3 years ago, I wanted to go so bad that I volunteered at the film festival
Uh,
just to be around those people. I didn't get a film in, but I just wanted to be in that community and see those films and meet all those people. And then last year, I was so, so grateful to have, we actually had two films in the festival last year. And I was like so grateful to go last year, and just to be back is a dream. I absolutely love going every year, and just I think the best part of film and the thing I love the most is the community and just the people you meet and the connections you form. And I think Garden State is like a really great place to form those bonds.
I'm like, I'm listening to you so proud. I know I never met you in person, but I just feel like a proud mom right now. I don't know why. I've been with the festival for like 7 years, and it's just so great to see people who love film, who love the community, and also they wanted to come to the festival and then they just grow and start having more films in it. So I can't wait to see your career continuing to blossom. I hope that you always submit to Garden State Film Festival, which it seems like you will.
I will.
And awesome. And will you be able to make it this year for your screening? Are we going to see
I
you at the
will.
festival?
I will definitely
Amazing.
be there.
So let me tell everyone watching how you can watch Time and meet this amazing filmmaker. It will be screening Sunday, March 24th. The film block starts at 9:15 at Berkeley Hotel. Come check it out. Get your tickets at gsff.org/tickets. And John, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations again, and I'll see you at the festival.
Great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye.
Have a nice night.